time for some more craziness, all right? But before we get to the videos, man, I need y'all help to unplug some more people out of the Matrix. And you do that by spamming the like button, then putting hashtag unplugged in the comment section, all right? And subscribe if you're new. That's it. Let's get to the videos.
This stunning scene happening off the coast of South Florida. A bull shark repeatedly launching itself at a fisherman's boat.
And all of a sudden, something switched in the shark's brain, and he just went into full attack mode. Video
producer and fishing guy Josh Jorgensen had been
starting to seem like to me, man, the sharks, the killer whales, everything is about had enough. I think they tired of us, bro. Like, we need to stay out the water just for a little time, give them time to cool off, go to their respective corners, and then we could try to see if we could do this whole thing over again, all right?
Been following a school of fish with his drone when he caught the shark battering his friend's boat.
And he just went completely nuts and just started attacking the engines and just ripping them to pieces.
Fishing boat captain Carl Torreson said he couldn't believe how much damage the shark caused.
I didn't think a shark could actually shake the boat like that. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is like a ride from Universal Studios.
Looks like we got a hammerhead shark.
A 12-year-old girl bitten on the leg while swimming at Cocoa Beach.
It hurts like incredibly bad. It was really, really painful, and I just wasn't expecting it.
But unprovoked shark attacks are rare, and fatalities even...
Like, y'all do realize, like, we choose to go in their habitat, right? Y'all realize that, right? I just want everybody to know that. We're choosing to go there.
Even more so. Researchers at Cal State Long Beach spent 2 years filming California beaches where great whites hang out and learned they come close to swimmers and surfers almost daily without humans even knowing.
I think most people's conception of what a white shark is that if you see it in the water, it's going to bite you. And I think one of the things our study showed is that's simply not true.
Even bull sharks, known to be more aggressive, don't usually charge like this. When they do, it can look like something out of the movies.
I know this sounds insane, but that scene in Jaws where it jumps on the back of the boat, that is totally possible.
Wow. Well, it seems like we're hearing a lot more about shark sightings and bites, and, you know, at least compared to other years. Do we know why?
Yes, Savannah. So we've seen a steady rise in shark attacks and sightings since a low point in the 1970s, 1980s, but a lot of experts are pointing to conservation efforts and a lot more people living near coastlines as reasons as to why we might be seeing that. Fortunately, alert systems and ways to monitor sharks are getting way better with technology, and the odds of being attacked by a shark is still very, very low.
All right, Gotti. We've learned they don't want to attack you.
No.
And do you remember what...
But tell that to the people who's been attacked by sharks. They don't want to hear that. I wouldn't want to hear that if I've been attacked. I don't care nothing about that stat.
We learned during today's Shark Week about how to handle them.
Don't punch them in the nose.
Don't bonk them in the nose, but also
look them in the eye.
Yeah.
Where is that from?
Oh, no,
were you off?
That's another thing, bro. I know y'all have seen that little clip going around too, where the shark's coming at you and the person said to stare it down, don't make any sudden movements, and when it comes, press firmly down on the head to push it away from you while still not making no sudden movements. Yeah, okay. Yeah, by then I'll probably be passed out. It's not. You ain't got to worry about me.
Look them in the eye.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's part of the deal.
Yeah.
You don't have to
Look
worry
tough.
about that with me.
All right.
New pictures, new video this morning from our CBC News drone team in Montreal, and it shows from on high what is left after the deadly fire last week in Old Montreal. Crews continue their work, searching for missing victims as well as searching for answers. But there have been lots of concerns about stability in that building, and it's put the search efforts at risk. We are following new developments today. We did have the breaking word that crews had found a second body. It could be a long time, though, before either of the two victims so far recovered are officially identified. Let's bring in Valeria Coriminocchio, who is live in Montreal, having just attended a briefing, the daily briefing from police and fire officials. What is the latest information that they are providing today?
Well, Heather, they were recapping yesterday evening that they were able to recover a second body. So far, though, we're not getting many more details than that about that second body. Police are not confirming any information just yet. They are, explaining that the process will take time. The body that was recovered yesterday evening has been transferred, to laboratory to analyze the remains. They say that all of this process will take time. They did say that they are in touch with the loved ones of the 7 people who are missing, but it's still going to be a very long process. Let's hear from an official with the Montreal Fire Department.
The complexity of the access in the building obliged us to remove each pieces of the structure with the help of the basket and the crane. These actions allowed us to contribute to the discovery of the second victim.
Today the focus will be a little bit different. They are going to be looking at other areas.
You just forget sometimes how in the blink of an eye, a fire could just do so much damage, bro. Like damage, man.
Of the site.
So is there any more information on that, Valeria? Because as you say, 2 bodies recovered, 5 people still missing, and there've been lots.
And then when it's contained inside that brick, you know how hot it is in there. Like beyond, and firefighters go in there with special gear on, and it still is just crazy heat.
Of discussions about
it's like an oven.
Concerns about the integrity, the structural integrity of the building, and how difficult it is for crews to do their searching. So what are they saying about next steps?
Exactly, Heather. The real challenge here is, the safety of the rescuers and making sure that they're able to do their job safely. The real challenge for crews today is going to be to look at new sections of the building. They're hoping that will help. But police and firefighters aren't specifying what sections they are going to be going through and searching through. Today they say that they want to avoid possible speculation of where victims would or could be. We're going to hear again from the Montreal Fire Department. They did give a little specification when it comes to making the site a bit more accessible for their search today.
Our plan is to remove the 2 chimneys still standing in order to secure the area and avoid that they collapse on our people. We will concentrate our research for victims in other sections of the building that is targeted by the SPVM investigator.
Now, crews will continue to use a crane to help lower rescuers into the site of the burnt structure. There will also be a drone to help. I'll just remind you that That
place is huge. And then when you go to talking about structural integrity, think about having to perform a search in that, right? Firefighters go in there, right? And if there's life in there, then they're going in. They're going in. It's burning inside. They're still going in and trying to get the life out, right? And you're trying to conduct a search, and it's dark, pitch black. So you may have to do what they call a left-hand or right-hand wall search. And that's still, man, one of the most craziest things to ever have to be a part of, bro. You know what I mean? Your heart's going, your adrenaline's pumping, everything. And you're trying to find this person before it's too late. I'm telling you, bro, it's nothing. It's different. It's special.
Other people are still missing, Heather. So the search is very much continuing today.
Okay. Valeria, thank you. Appreciate your being with us this morning. Valeria Corey-Minocchio from Montreal Live today.
Marian Rudnick is a former NASA astronomer who just called out NASA's Bill Nelson. He said the following: Bill Nelson, you say you are considering using space-based sensors in order to get answers about aliens. As a former NASA astronomer, I'm calling you out. You are stalling. You know that the National Reconnaissance Office program Sentient already has been and is collecting such data. Release it. Interestingly, this isn't the first time that a NASA worker has come forward and said that the space agency knows more than what they are letting on. Former employees have said that NASA are choosing...
I think we've heard a lot of that lately. A lot.
...not to inform the public about mysterious aircrafts, going on to say that they actively engage in the phenomenon and have documented evidence. After the UAP hearing, Bill Nelson came forward and said the following: I decided as the head of NASA, since there's so much suspicion about aliens, that I would appoint a committee of very distinguished scientists. That committee is delivering and will make their report available next month. I can tell you in the meantime, until you hear their report, that they will consider our sensors in space and our scientific sensors in trying to determine this phenomenon. So wait until next month and you will have an answer. End quote. The story surrounding the hearing sounded like something from a movie, but it claims to be based on real events. During a public meeting convened by the United States Congress on Wednesday, July 26th, significant revelations were shared by 3 highly regarded and honorable former military officials, shedding light on the government's awareness of unidentified objects. This comprehensive discussion delved deep into the subject matter, providing a wealth of detailed information and insightful commentary. During a hearing before a House Oversight Subcommittee, 3 individuals provided compelling testimony, revealing the existence of an ongoing and extensive program within the United States military. This program's objective is to recover and study the advanced technology associated with unidentified aerial phenomena. The witnesses offered credible insights into the nature of this program and shed light on the military's efforts to reverse engineer and understand the capabilities of these mysterious aerial objects. These disclosures not only reinforce the notion that there is concealed knowledge surrounding the subject, but also suggest a deliberate intent to withhold such information from the public. Delving into the depths of this matter, it becomes apparent that officials are aware that something mysterious is going on. The declaration that sparked controversy was made by 3 courageous individuals who willingly took an oath to affirm its validity. These remarkable individuals include David Fravor, a retired Navy commander who showed great bravery in coming forward. Another key participant is David Grush, a former representative of the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Task Force at the US Department of Defense, bringing invaluable expertise and insight to the declaration. Lastly, Ryan Graves, the Executive Director of Americans for Safe Aerospace, played a vital role in making this declaration. Together, these 3 individuals, with their extensive backgrounds and experiences, boldly stepped. During a discussion, retired Major Grush made a noteworthy statement regarding the knowledge possessed by the US government pertaining to non-human activity dating back to the 1930s. He firmly stated that he possesses absolute certainty in asserting that the US federal government has a wide range of unidentified objects within its possession. Furthermore, he mentioned conducting interviews with over 40 individuals over the span of 4 years who have convincingly reinforced this fact. This revelation sheds light on the government's extensive historical involvement with non-human phenomena and their collection of UFOs.
Exactly. Now listen, we may not agree on whether or not you believe in extraterrestrial, other life forms, life on another planet. We may not agree on that. That's fine. But I think we all can agree that we've been being lied to. Something has been being kept from us. That's the point I think we need to focus on and fix. We should have truth and transparency. That should be no question, right? We can agree on that, can't we? The other stuff, we'll eventually come to some type of common ground, but at least we can agree on this point.
Major Grush's in-depth exploration of the topic, along with his extensive interviews, provide a comprehensive understanding of the US government's knowledge and possession of UFOs throughout history. During an interview with Australian journalist Ross Coulthart, Grush brought to light the existence of significant misconduct carried out by specific defense contractors with regards to UFO secrecy. He made it known that he possesses knowledge about instances of white-collar crime that were committed in order to conceal the truth about unidentified aerial phenomena. Grush's testimony offered some intriguing clues, providing a glimpse into the nature of these wrongdoings. The details he shared shed light on the extent of the cover-up and hinted at possible motives behind it. This revelation brings about a deeper understanding of the complex web of secrecy surrounding UAP sightings and the lengths to which certain entities have gone to keep the truth hidden. Democratic Representative Jared Moskowitz's line of questioning proved to be highly significant and stood out as one of the most crucial moments of the day's proceedings. During the intense questioning, Moskowitz continuously posed a series of inquiries, while Grush, displaying a deep understanding and unwavering assurance, provided detailed answers that exposed a widespread misuse of authority among both government agencies and private companies involved in independent development and research initiatives. Grush's responses shed light on the alarming extent of this issue and highlighted the numerous instances. The question of extraterrestrial life and its potential discovery has long been a topic of profound interest and speculation. Amidst this discourse, a belief suggests that the National Aeronautics and Space Administration or other governmental bodies are concealing evidence of advanced life. Those subscribing to the belief that NASA is withholding information often cite the agency's government affiliation as a reason for potential secrecy. As a federal agency, NASA operates within a broader governmental framework and national security considerations. Conceivably, any verified discovery of extraterrestrial life could have profound socio-political and cultural impacts.
Definitely.
Fear of public panic, international tensions, or potential exploitation of advanced alien technologies might hypothetically prompt governmental bodies to withhold such information. Another reason often cited is the desire...
True, but people still need to know. I get the whole, we don't want to promote panic and this, that, and the third, widespread panic and all that type of stuff, which could be true. I get that. But still, we still need to know.
To maintain scientific or technological advantages. If advanced artifacts or technologies were discovered, some argue that they might be kept secret to prevent other nations or entities from gaining access to potentially revolutionary advancements. However, while these reasons may seem plausible in certain speculative scenarios, it's essential to critically evaluate their underlying assumptions and the current evidence available. Firstly, the culture of scientific inquiry that NASA represents is fundamentally rooted in open exploration and knowledge dissemination. NASA regularly shares its research findings with the public and the global scientific community. The ethos of NASA and similar agencies contrasts significantly with the secretive conduct implied by the claims of information suppression. Secondly, the process of scientific verification inherently defies secrecy. The discovery of advanced life would be a scientific milestone of unparalleled significance. Such a finding would require rigorous verification by multiple independent researchers and institutions around the globe, making any large-scale cover-up implausible. Thirdly, the scientific consensus is that there is currently no verified evidence of advanced life. Numerous claims of sightings or artifacts have been thoroughly investigated and have typically been explained by natural phenomena or human activity. However, believers have said that people who have wanted to come forward with evidence have been silenced. As of right now, it's thought that more and more whistleblowers will be coming forward in the next few weeks.
That's what I'm anxious to see. Who else, from what agency or department they're coming from, what they have to say, what they seen. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see more and more people come forth and feel comfortable to talk. I'm anxious to hear their stories.
Over the past few years, unidentified object research has become more credible due to the release of videos captured by Navy pilots, which depict objects moving in unusual patterns. Extensive media attention led to the establishment of the Department of Defense's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, responsible for studying and producing yearly reports on this subject. However, due to the classification of a significant portion of the Pentagon's aerial imagery, the scientific inquiry by civilian researchers into unidentified aerial phenomena has been impeded by a shroud of mystery.
President Joe Biden has canceled an order by former President Donald Trump to move the United States Space Command headquarters to Alabama. The Pentagon says the decision is due to readiness, but it comes as Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville has refused to okay promotions of senior generals and admirals, quote, in protest of a Pentagon policy that reimburses military personnel who have to travel to obtain an abortion or fertility treatments, the New York Times writes. Pentagon spokesperson Brigadier General Patrick Ryder says locating the headquarters in Colorado Springs, which is where it is currently located, quote, ultimately ensures peak readiness in the space domain for our nation during a critical period and would, quote, enable the command to most effectively plan, execute, and integrate military space power into multi-domain global operations.
The United States Space Force budget reached $30 million in a 2024 proposal from earlier this year, with the Department of Defense requesting $2.6 billion for national security space launch services, according to Space News. In response, the Empire Files tweeted, wonder if all the UFO stuff suddenly being entertained by Washington has anything to do with this. Hashtag UFO hearing.
Yeah, so this is...
Should have known the conspiracies was going to fly when that number came out, bro. 30 bill? Yeah, 30 billion. You knew the conspiracy was about to come out. Oh, isn't this convenient?
It's a fascinating story. Remember that Tommy Tuberville has been on this campaign to hold up all of these military promotions, really pro forma sorts of things, because he doesn't like a provision that would allow service members to go to another state to get access to not just abortion care, but fertility care for female service members. And it's a fascinating posture, in part because historically, of course, it has been conservatives that accuse Democrats of not supporting the troops, harming the troops, et cetera. And Democrats have made gestures historically to say, well, we're the ones that want to give the troops health care. We're the ones that want to make sure they come home soon. And those have largely fallen on deaf
Democrats
ears.
were also the ones who said, and you have to get that COVID vaccine or you're going to...
Sure, but my point is contrasting the older posture to the contemporary posture now. And, you know, he's willing to die on this hill, seemingly, and Joe Biden now has a response, which is to say your state is not going to get this facility, which presumably would have advantaged it and the people who live there.
Sure. I mean, the facility should just go in whatever is the most logical, cheapest, and most efficient way for the facility to be. I don't, like this idea of we're going to give it to the most best politically connected person. It should just be whatever saves the government the most money and is the most logical place is where it should be.
Well, it's staying where it is, which seems to be the most logical thing.
Fine. Separately, yes, I would say the same thing about Tuberville's stand as I would about any other private medical decision involving the troops or anyone else. It's none of the government's business. And, trying to force the troops who want these kinds of things to not be able to, like that, it seems.
Well, but people say it is the government's business because the government is paying for their health care.
Yeah.
So we live in this
the problem.
We live in this bizarre world where one of the few ways that poor people can get access to health care and education in the United States of America is to enlist in the military. Many people cite that as the reason for them joining up in the first instance. My best friend entered the Navy for the same reason, to pay for college. And I heard
that a lot growing up as well. You know what I mean? We can't afford this. We can't afford this. Might need to go into the military. That way we can be able to afford health care and schooling, maybe help pay for college, different things like that. You did what you had to do.
It suddenly, to have that be the largest socialized medicine program in the United States, or not, I guess Medicare would be that, but one of the largest kind of socialized institutions in the United States of America, at the same time that you're going to say that basically religious preferences and political preferences are going to dictate the healthcare outcomes of the people who join up for the explicit purpose of healthcare, is kind of a dark place. But that's where we got over the years of the court slowly deciding that these kind of independent, personal, religious or cultural expectations should be writ large into public policy, as opposed to being an issue between a person and their doctor.
When you have a government-run system, some people whose tax money is used to fund the government system have religious objections to how it's spent, and Senator Tuberville is representing them in this crusade.
And yet the courts have not decided that I can have a kind of ethical, dare I say, religious exemption to my tax dollars being spent on endless wars.
I mean, but this is the exact same thing. You could have a senator who refuses to allow any of these military promotions to go through because of your inability to opt out of religious or of spiritual,
well, no,
just based
I think the difference is because it's the religious liberty exceptions, it's the constitutional protections for free exercise that have been used as a linchpin for people getting the kind of abortion, Hobby Lobby style abortion exemptions.
Right, I mean, those people had to fight very stridently for that kind of recognition.
To suppress their employees' ability to get health care. Yes, they fought and they won in the Supreme Court.
For things
and they won in the
don't
Supreme
agree
Court
with.
because they were able to exploit the constitutional protections for free exercise of religion. If I don't shroud it in some religious objective, or even if I say my religion says I'm a pacifist and does not support me spending on war,
but I completely support that.
The problem is that the courts don't recognize all religions equally and don't recognize spiritual beliefs that aren't traditional in some sense, and would not support me being able to use those same kinds of religious protections to preclude my tax dollars from being used in the same way.
Absolutely support you being able to opt out of paying your taxes for any reason, Brianna. For a religious reason, for a psychological reason, for anything to constrain the growth of our government. So
all right. Well, what do you make of this idea that the emphasis, the public interest, the willingness of Congress to have hearings on the UFO sightings,
well, you're big on this is a distraction thing,
it's because of the huge budget. I mean, let's go over.
I don't think this is a distraction, man. And I think this is serious, bro. And that's why I'm not really giving any. Well, I do think that funding should go towards space. Now, this whole Space Force movement situation, I don't know too much about it, so I can't really speak on that. But as long as we're not taking any funding away from any type of space, things we're trying to accomplish, whether it be another space probe going into space or whatever like that, But at the same time, I know we need funding in other areas as well. So we got to kind of be mindful at the same time of what we need it for. If it's military reasons, whatever, let's make sure we have funding in those places as well. But you know what I mean? I'm for space, as you should already know by now, if you've been following this channel. So
for the numbers that we read again, the Space Force budget reached $30 billion in a 2024 proposal from earlier this year. Department of Defense requesting another $2.6 billion for national security space launch services. Now
that if that has anything to do with the video, I don't know if I dropped that video yet, but it may be coming soon, about what China was doing with GPS. If you watch that video and you see that, then you would want some more money funding certain space things as well. I'm telling you, pay attention to what's going on, man. There's some power moves being made, and GPS is one of them.
Is big alien curiosity a boon for big Space Force funding?
I mean, presumably demonstrating the existence of aliens would be an even bigger bonanza for defense spending, right? If the public knew and they saw proof that aliens are real, that they have spacecrafts, they visited Earth, they crashed into Earth, I think the public acceptance of a ballooning defense budget would be very high. So if they have something to show, they should probably just show. If their goal is just to maximize revenue for the Defense Department, the secret is not doing them a lot of good.
Yeah, I mean, there are, of course, conspiracy theorists who think we never landed on the moon. The idea of space as an excuse to justify funding that goes into a black hole of God knows what somewhere else is not a new conspiracy theory. I'm not entirely sure about that one.
There's some kind of psyop going on. I just don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. Well, meanwhile, confidence in the United States military is the lowest in over 2 decades, recent Gallup polling finds. The latest numbers are from a June poll, found that United States confidence in the military has fallen to only 60%. Last time it was this low was in 1997. I'm not sure what's going on then. More specifically, Republican confidence in the military has declined over 20 percentage points in 3 years, from 91% to 68%, according to the survey. I think that's fascinating and supports an argument I've been making often on this show is that skepticism of institutions used to be more specific for each institution. What Democrats are skeptical of, what Republicans are skeptical of. But now the Republican Party is the party of skepticism in general. It's the party that does not have faith in institutions, whether that's universities, schools, wokeness everywhere, national intelligence, the health czars. It even is now extending to the military, which is something that Republicans wouldn't want to be rah-rah military historically, or at least in the Bush, Clinton, Reagan years, I guess. That's all coming to an end now. It's a different party. It's a party of people who have doubts about large institutions, including very American ones.
I largely agree with that with some caveats. I think there's still pretty full-throated support for the police, despite their repeated targeting and over-policing of low-income communities, including the majority of poor people in America who are in fact white. And then also, I think that there is still broadly an overwhelming support within the Republican Party and certainly Republican leadership for foreign intervention. And there might be a preference for a war with China versus a war in Ukraine, but I have some skepticism about how substantial the anti-war critique is from the right when it is so narrowly focused on the war in Ukraine, which is a tacit way to criticize Joe Biden and has these political valences. What happens when it's no longer Biden's war? Is there still going to be an appetite for anti-intervention? We'll see. Maybe I'm too skeptical. I'm happy to be proven wrong.
You're so skeptical, you should join the Republican Party. That's where all the skeptics are. We'll have more Rising right after this.